Hello, I'm DC McLaughlin, and I'm going to read you a bit from my first book, my vampire novel, Deadly Conversations. Just setting the scene, this is a section of the book where the good vampire and the bad vampire get together and have a little discussion about things. Just kind of heighten the suspense in the story. Michaela was walking through the hallways of the hotel when he caught it, the faint scent of someone familiar. He stopped and paid more attention to the scent, making sure of his suspicions. Yes, there could be no mistaking it. He took a deep breath to steady his emotions, and then he pursued the smell. It led him out into the open lobby of the hotel. Before him was a sunken indoor garden with small tables and chairs set up for people to socialize. Although the area was bustling with activity and people, the tables were vacant except for one person. A dark-skinned, dark-haired man sat at one of the tables, with a single wine glass in front of him. Michaela was expected. The man nodded to him. He could have turned away, but Michaela knew he did not dare to ignore this man. He took a deep breath to steel himself against the conversation to come, and then he went at once to the table and seated himself across from the man. Michael, the man acknowledged in a soft, low voice laced with a Spanish accent. He winced in distaste at the mention of his English name, but he nodded in return. Hector, Michaela replied. Their eyes scrutinized each other for one long, silent moment, like warriors of equal strength sizing each other up before the beginning of a fight. The man who sat across from Michaela was as dark as the Bavarian was light. His expertly styled locks were combed back from his high forehead. His eyebrows were dark and heavy, and his facial features were finely chiseled. He possessed the handsome good looks of a male model, except for his eyes. They were dark pools of glittering of infinity. His eyes were definitely not human. "Why are you here, Michael?" the man called Hector said. He risked a smile. "I could ask you much the same question." The sheen in his eyes grew darker. "Do not play word games with me," Hector told him. "You know I hold all your secrets." Michaela tilted his head to the side. "You began all my secrets." Hector smiled in obvious relish of this fact. He slowly sipped his wine as he considered the next move. "I could command you to tell me." Michaela sniffed in wry humor at this. "Oh, you definitely could," he admitted, "but you won't. Not here, and not now. Too many people about. You'd make a scene." Hector bowed his head slightly. "So tell me then." Michaela smiled and did not speak for a long moment. "No." Hector sat back in his chair. "No seems to be your favorite word with me." Michaela raised his eyebrows but said nothing to this. "Are you following me, Hector?" he finally said. Hector smiled in return. "I am always following you, Michael. I or one of my children." The Bavarian sighed in return. "Ah, manipulation. It won't work with me, Hector." But Hector shook his head. "It already has." Michaela's expression hinted to the rejection of the idea. "You know nothing of my motives." Hector caressed the edge of his wineglass. "Except that you mean to kill me." Although his tone was soft, he almost laughed as he said this. The Bavarian's face went dark. "It will happen," he insisted. Hector sniffed and shook his head. "And yet I am still here. I have been here for so many centuries. You have had plenty of time. What's your problem?" Michaela gave a frustrated sigh. "Don't you get it? Get tired of it, Hector? The constant killing, the half-life, the running from the sun, the spreading chaos and grief wherever you go?" Hector leaned forward as if he was divulging some great secret. "Never," he hissed. "Wait a few more years. Then everything changes. Then you will love this life I have bestowed upon you, and you will bathe in the blood of the innocent as I have done." Michaela turned away. "This is pointless. You have nothing to say, nothing I have not heard a million times before." He made as if to leave. Hector's words stopped him. "You took my son from me," Hector said in a soft voice reeking of hate. "Now we take your family from you." Michaela turned his head and his eyes squeezed shut at the painful memories. "You already have, remember?" The Spaniard gave a wry smile. "I remember, and I'm not talking about them." There was a purposely dramatic pause in his words which forced Michaela to turn and face him again. "I know about Hope," he told him. Michaela's eyes snapped open, his heart began to pound, but very slowly. He did not dare look at Hector. "I know she had children," he said, his voice getting progressively softer. And I know Hope's great-granddaughter is here. The last words he spoke in a whisper. And I will find her. Michaelo met Hector's gaze at last. The spaniel was smiling vindictively as his eyes watched the emotions play across his face. Ah, there it is. I've frightened you again, haven't I? Michaelo shot up and away from the table, refusing to look at him anymore, but Hector's mocking words chased after him. This is what happens when you tell me no.